Welcome to Total Disclosure, everyone. My name is Tom Thompson, and this is a total news update. We have a lot to get to today, folks, so strap in because this is going to be one hell of a ride. As we continue to feel the ripples that are emanating out from the recent statements made by Mr. David Grusch in his interview with Ross Coulthart, we began to hear rumblings of more potential official government hearings on the UFO subject. This notion has indeed come to fruition as the House Oversight Committee has planned a new hearing for Wednesday, July the 26th. This comes only days after Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has introduced historic legislation to create a review board that's dedicated to the disclosure of unidentified anomalous phenomena, information related and materials included. The board, comprising 9 U.S. citizens nominated by the president, will have the authority to assess and advise on the release of UAP information, including potential biological evidence indicating non human intelligences and their vehicles. The review board will operate independently and have the power of eminent domain to obtain materials from aerospace companies if necessary. The legislation aims to force transparency on the decades long UFO cover up, and members of the board will include officials from national security, foreign service, scientists, engineers, historians, sociologists, and economists. The president will retain the authority to accept or reject the board's recommendations with explicit grounds to protect national security. The proposed NDAA language also defines non human intelligence as any sentient, intelligent, non human life form related to UAP and technologies of unknown origin as materials or technology without prosaic attribution or known human manufacture. The congressional public hearing is expected on the 26th of this month, offering firsthand testimonies and fostering UAP transparency. The new review board aims to provide additional transparency beyond the existing UAP investigation through Arrow, which is considered insufficient by some. Overall, the legislation represents a significant commitment from senior officials to address the topic of UAP and achieve transparency regarding unidentified phenomenon. One major question that still lingers is the potential witnesses scheduled to testify before the House on the 26th. Now, both Lou Elizondo and David Grusch resigned from their government positions, stating that they were unable to fulfill their mission from within the government and uphold their oath to the citizens of the United States of America properly. According to their perspective, and much more recently, Mr. Grusch specifically, the situation is far more severe and critical than many people might comprehend. To gain further understanding of the upcoming hearing and potential participants, including notable statements from figures like Ross Coulthart, we welcome Ty Roberts joining us from Massachusetts. Ty, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing very well, thank you, Tom. Great introduction. I mean, I could not have said that better myself. I think there's a reason that these hearings are happening. We know that the House and Congress goes on recess for the summer until September. Now, why did Representative Luna and Tim Burchett push for these hearings before that recess? They could have easily postponed this and gone on recess. This is, not a topic that has really garnered too much. Well, it's not to say too much interest, but it's never been too much at the forefront of something that needs to happen. But Tim Burchett has been a champion of this government conspiracy and cover up. He's been very plain in his statements, and I think David Grusch and Lou Elizondo will testify at these hearings.
That would be incredible. And apparently, according to Mr. Coulthart and others, including Burchett, there is expected to be what is being dubbed an all-star lineup of sorts that will be making an appearance at this particular hearing. Now, I also want to note that there have been some recent updates. Apparently, NASA had some representatives that were to be participating, but they decided to pull out. And an unnamed individual was quoted as saying, "Doesn't really matter to us. They're part of the cover up anyway."
And you got to ask yourself in these situations, why is, NASA, we know NASA has initiated this study with 16 scientists, scientists, journalists. There's a plethora of people. Now, why are they pulling out of these hearings? Is it because they don't have enough data? At least data that they're being shown. I think there's, and to swing it back to Lou Elizondo and David Grusch, both having to leave their jobs. And Lou has been quite frank about it. He had to leave the very job he loved in order to fulfill the mission he was given. And David Grusch finds himself in a similar situation. No one signs up to be a whistleblower. No one
No one.
wants to be a whistleblower. So the fact that he is coming out with these statements, and skeptics, and they all want to point the finger towards the fact that he has not seen firsthand knowledge of this of these programs and these craft. He's talking about not just craft but alien pilots, material, and potentially murder. To keep this secret. I mean, the things, and then Marco Rubio, his statements about the firsthand witnesses giving testimony directly to him, sometimes so scared that they would have to go to his house and do it. And then, Ross Coulthart, with that tweet today, or not tweet, his sentiment. And Ross, gives a very eerie statement saying that there will be incontroversial evidence given. This means that the fundamental truth will be given, that there will be no way to dispute what is provided in these hearings. So could July 26th be the day that lives in infamy? Now, I'm blown away. I truly am. And I think, Tim Burchett, Marco Rubio, Senator Gillibrand, Arrow, for all it's worth, how far we've come. And we talk about these dates that people like John Ramirez have given, and these dates that have been given by like Stephen Bassett, these really, people with inside track and inside knowledge. I wasn't a believer at first, but Tom, I got to ask, as the anchor of the show, could this be it?
I hope so. I'm as I was telling you before we started the show, I'm seeing a wave of individuals, specifically on Reddit, which I frequent, making posts and remarks of that nature. Like, "Hey guys, I've really enjoyed my time here. Uh, you know, it's about to happen. This is it." And it's odd because there's two subreddits that I frequent the most. It's r/UFOs and r/aliens. It's more loosey goosey over in aliens. Great people in both, but I would expect them to be the ones that would jump to that conclusion before anyone. And I am seeing it on both. So there appears to be this group sentiment that this really may actually be it. This might really be happening now. This
Right.
might be little d disclosure. But I would say that if we're gonna lay this out on a piece of paper, this is big D disclosure, and we're about to write the letter D capitalized right now. It's happening.
Yeah, and I can't help but wonder, with the the increase in public awareness of UAP, and what they, I'm very afraid of the national security threat narrative. I think we need to be very careful, within these waters, because national security threats, of course, the intelligence community, they assess threats, right? That's what they do.
Absolutely.
The CIA, the FBI, they're all here to ultimately protect the United States citizens. Now, some may say that's not always the case, but I mean, these institutions were created for that reason. Now, what happens when we find out that all of these agencies have been involved to some degree in a cover up that is so large and has spanned so many years? Are we just going to allow that to pass us by and admit that we have to meet the government halfway somewhere in order for this truth to get out? Allegedly, now I'm saying this allegedly, that there was an article that said that Biden was shown some sort of video in a private briefing, and he was not happy. Let's just say that. And now this is unverified. I'm still working to verify the source of it, but if true, this is something that we've heard before. People getting briefings on the true nature of UAP or some UAP and maybe their pilots not having humans' best interest at heart. Now, this is a very humbling statement, because when you are the alpha of a civil, of a planet, finding out that you're not the alpha is a very sobering and somber thought. So I think each of us as people are going to have to sit down, whether it's with our family, whether it's with our loved ones, whether it's with ourselves, and just think about our place in the universe. These are times that are so rapidly changing. Every single day, there's something new. More news, consume. And what worries me is the lack of coverage from mainstream media.
Yeah, that scares me, and it bothers me that there are so many people that aren't taking this so seriously. But on the other hand, Ty, if I could say this, I will, is the time where the impact of this material and information uh it won't have the loudest thud. It'll be softened because people are going to realize just how deep this conspiracy and cover up goes. And I'm gonna say probably 5 out of 10 people, maybe more, are gonna say, "Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, kind of expected it."
Kind of expected it, and that's the thing. If you were to poll, and I think we should do this over over the summer sometime, is just go to like Boston Common and poll 100 people, because I guarantee 98 out of 100 would say that we're not alone in the universe, and most of them would probably have a story about lights in the sky that they probably saw somewhere or a friend saw. Most of us come from a background where we now, the younger generations, this is not a surprise, but it's time for the truth to come out, and it's time for more government transparency about this subject. We can no longer go on the notion that we are not alone in the universe. Science cannot advance, and if there is technology that is being deliberately hidden from the U.S. government, not only the U.S. government, but the U.S. civilization, the global civilization. This technology could potentially change the world in matter of a span of a couple of years. So if that is truly something that's being hidden for some sort of military purpose, then I think the governments, the Five Eyes especially, because those are the ones that we're going to be looking at, they owe us a very big a very big explanation, and there's going to be some questions that are going to be hard to answer. Now, the abduction phenomenon comes up; it's got to come up,
Has to. Eventually. It's not gonna be now, but it's an unavoidable subject.
and I can't help. I cannot help but think about where we are in this subject. Now, Lou Elizondo, after he resigned, he was on a podcast and he had said, or even I think it was during the TSA speech, or it was the one where I believe that first year he came out, he was the guest speaker at the MUFON symposium, and he gave a lecture where he said, 5 years from now, we're going to be having a radically different conversation. 5 years later, we are having a radical different conversation. We are now talking about reverse engineering of craft. We're talking about pilots. We're talking about material. We're talking about everything. and deep conspiracy by the government, potentially including murder of human beings to keep this secret. Now, this is not something that we should take lightly.
No.
But I thank you. This I think we need to do more as citizens. We need to ask. We need to demand more from our representatives, because
That's the word.
this is our we live in a representative republic. So if we're not asking our representatives to represent us on these topics, they have so much on their plates already. So I'm glad this subject, we're getting hearings on July 26, 2023, which, total disclosure, of course, we're going to be live streaming them here. And I want to leave you with this quote, Tom. It's from Men in Black. It's corny, but 1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago. Shit, let me start that over.
I have a quote too. We still have another quote to get to.
So I'm going to leave you with this quote, Tom. It's from Men in Black. It's a little corny, but I think it resonates really well as of right now. 1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat. And 15 minutes ago, you knew that we were alone in the universe. Imagine what you'll know tomorrow. The great Tommy Lee Jones.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah. So thank you for putting this together. This breaking news update. This is a very short video for us, but I think it's going to be something that we do more of. Now I know I'm going to let you take us out.
I will leave all of you with this quote from Ross Coulthart. I know some of the things that are coming. The public may be pleasantly surprised to see certain former senior, very public officials coming forward admitting that there is truth to these allegations. I'm Tom Thompson for Total Disclosure. For myself and Ty Roberts, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. We hope to see you soon, wherever you are in this three-dimensional reality of ours. Take care, and let's continue exploring the unknown together.